something you never witnessed until now. SunWun. I done heard it all, stop talking to me. Never was I scared of they ghost stories. I was in the hood drinking warm 40s, smoking old weed out of broke Phillies. Summertime chilly down in North Philly. Nigga got shot walking out his building. On the way to school picking up his children. On his birthday, right around Christmas. Damn, I see the big picture. Damn, through my new lenses. Fendi put them on for like $850. The chain on my neck look like an ice sculpture. Your girl looking at me trying to take a portrait. Your man on my dick asking where I bought it. We all know nigga can't afford it. King talk, nigga, run the jewels up. 12 bricks in the suitcase. 40 bands in the shoebox. 4 girls in the back room. They just trying to see who come first. Trunk full of drugs. That's what you want, right? Money in the bag. That's what you want, right? Girls going by. That's what you want, right? That's what you want, that's what you want, that's what you want, that's what you want. Hit the booth, killer might run the jewels up. I'm still drinking marijuana stinking. Back in the city, this time to Ben Franklin. Damn, wrong Ezek, now it's Ty Coney. A day news, shoot another movie. Cinematic shit, keep the camera rolling. 97,000 for the wardrobe. The lawn out front is a car show. New kitchen on the first and second floor. Skylight for when your bitch wanna see the stars. I know, niggas ain't fucking with me. I know, niggas don't fuck with me. You know, I gotta keep the thing with me. They know, I'm still with whatever, nigga. 12 bricks in the suitcase. 40 bands in the shoebox. 4 girls in the back room. They just tryna see who come first. Trunk full of drugs. Money in the bag. Girls going by. 12 bricks in the suitcase. 40 bands in the shoebox. 4 girls in the back room. They just tryna see who come first. Trunk full of drugs. Money in the bag. Girls going by. That's what you want, right? That's what you want, right? That's what you want, that's what you want, right?
You know what?
Hip-hop started out in the park. Now it's $1 billion business and it's not my fault. You can tell by the way I dress and how I walk, the way I drip, the beat drop, and how I talk. Too much sauce, you couldn't cut Tough Crew off, cause it was so damn rough like the Tough Crew song. Had the Reebok classes with the gumshoes, dog. All the fun we had and all the ones we lost. You got the movers, the shakers, the poppers, and the lockers, the DJs, the soccer MCs, and the boppers, the breakers. A Million Man March couldn't save us. The energy created ran them 2 turntables. I'm hot 9-7 rhyme ready when I speak. Hip hop and R&B 7 days a week.
You know what? You know what?
Since the sandbox, I was anthrax. I was Beach Street with a train at. I was Lido, wearing them leads though. Alpinas, cheap yo. Drinking 40s, pulling out bankrolls. I remember grandma stepping on my Legos. I remember broke backing up my Play-Doh. JBL was the ATM of the way though. A brick in the Winnebago. Pancakes and syrups, they ain't let go their ego. Or let go their ego. Ain't couldn't beat Mike Tyson on Nintendo.
Black leather jacket, shell tops in my Kango. Gold rope chains when I'm posing for the Polaroid. Backspins with that hardboard or linoleum. Krylon paint, sign my name on the stadium. Cyphers in the park, South Street as a dog. Beatboxing on the corner till the police came. We would battle anybody so they know our name. Beat Street, Wild Style, and my #1 J. Tessie 1200, got the speaker box pumping. Ain't nothing but the brand new funk that we be smoking. New stage, new city, new hundreds, new 50s. More women backstage trying to show me they hold up.
Plus how she fly with Medusa on my tee. Look like I'm from Dubai, but I'm from NP. If you wanna see me live, check my tour day sheet. When they throw on flip side, that crowd scream, yeah, free. Yeah, while I stop being cockney. Shopping in the mall like I ain't bored from the property. Rhyme properly, burn a beat like some calories. Used to count my pellies from the blue inside the gallery. Used to pull my scully down low and flow melodically. Boogie down production is nothing but my philosophy. 93 back of the trolley, spitting, finishing with fatalities. Ring, 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 ring.
Stepping out the telly, Q queen walking with me. Headed to the city, all my jewelry is pretty. Sunlight shining off the E-Class emblem. Remember the days when it was all so simple. God, he was alive, we used to race in the rental. Right around the time of jiggers ain't no nigga. Still shed a tear cause I love my nigga. Overseas in the farm, that's American me. I let my hair grow out, I got sick of the fade. Still 7 days a week, we putting on to get paid. Pencil pocket, guess jeans in the hood was the wave. Club fever or the tunnel, 2 for 5 weed bundles. Wall Street A plus, where we all used to hustle. Parking lot got hot, 4 ounces in the duffel. Had the Mustang coupe, baby blue with the white roof, and I kept a chrome 25 inside my boot. Made a nigga walk funny, either rumble or shoot. My connect was Jamaican nigga fresh off the boot, and his English kinda shaky, so I'm listening close. And even then we used to argue about who really the GOAT. Fast forward in the future, everything is computers, and I still shoot a nigga if he wanna act stupid. King talk, and I'm still with the dumb shit. I'm still something you never witnessed until everything's watered down. We go off with the classic. It's kinda hard now, everything's plastic. Where the love, where the pain, where the bars at? Where the heart, where the heat, where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the heart, where the heat, where the soul at? Everything's watered down, we go off with the classic. It's kinda hard now, everything's plastic. Where the love, where the pain, where the bars at? Where the heart, where the heat, where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the soul at? Where the heart, where the heat, where the soul at?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the music too. Thank you for that. Hey, yo, check it out, right? Everybody who's tuning in, thank you, first of all, because this is the debut. You're part of history right now. This is the very first. The very first, and it won't be the last.
Foundation.
The foundation, the beginning, the alpha, the start, the jump off. You know what I'm saying?
Progenitor.
Diamonds and Steel podcast. It's now in effect, powered by yours truly, Glocker World. Glocker World is what I like to call it. Y'all may know it as Glockaware, but it's definitely Glocker World because there's so many different aspects of what they bring to the table, and I had to contribute my part to it, and this is where we at with it. A lot of people was asking me, what's the Diamond and Steel? They thought...
What is it, son?
They thought it was a name. They thought it was like 2 people. They just thought it was something I was promoting, and it was like a podcast I was being interviewed on.
Like some superheroes or something.
Maybe, I don't know. Diamond could have been a chick, I guess, and Steel was the guy. I don't know. The color commentator. I don't know. What it is, Diamond and Steel is referring to the substances of the planet Earth. The hard substances, the rock hard substances, some of the hardest substances on the planet is what? Diamond and steel. And the reason is diamond and steel is because we're dealing with hardcore facts, pure truth, you know what I mean? Unobjective truth, period. That's supported by facts, not my opinion. And I want to be like straight up that I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. It ain't about hurting nobody's feelings, you know what I mean? It ain't about none of that. It's about presenting the truth. You know what I mean? And this podcast, what fuels this podcast is we run off of the truth being the authority, not the authority being the truth. You know, understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to say that again. We running off of the truth being the authority, not the authority being the truth.
That's deep.
Right. I'm gonna explain what that means, because this is for everybody, and I can't just assume everybody know what that means. As simple as it may come off to me, I can't just assume that everybody know what that means. They may hear that and it sound like mumbo jumbo. What it means is, if it's a law or something that's in place, right? And this is just this right here is my perspective of it. You know what I'm saying? If it's a law or something that's in place, right? People will take that as if that law is the truth because it's a law. But just because it's a law, not necessarily is it right. You dig what I'm saying? Whereas the truth is always right because it's the truth.
Accepted or rejected.
Accepted or rejected. However, the truth is always gonna be the truth. It's gonna be what it is, whether it's cold outside, whether it's hot, whether you want it to be or not, it's gonna be what it is. You dig what I'm saying? And the truth can't be just something that you say is the truth because you feel it is. It gotta be supported by facts, proven facts that we all have agreed are what led to this truth to be truth, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's got to be led. We got to set up a point where we showing and proving these things. You dig what I'm saying?
Indeed.
That's the purpose of the podcast, to present truth, to talk about those questions that people are scared to talk about, but I know they thinking about them. You dig what I'm saying? That's the purpose of the podcast, to bring things to the forefront that we like to sweep under the rug. Things that I think are preventing us from moving forward as a people. You dig what I'm saying? And I could sit back all day long, you know what I mean? Because I'm around. And I see all kinds of things in my day-to-day travels. And I could sit back and I could complain all day long about things that I don't think is right. Or I think
a lot to complain about.
A lot to complain about. Or things that I think could be better. Or things that I wish wasn't the way that they are. And instead of complaining about them, let's try to build a platform where we can start to fix things as a whole, as a collective. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Solutions.
Right. Something rock solid to stand on. Diamonds and steel.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We back on that again. You know what I mean?
Sharp and steel.
Steel, sharp, and steel. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. And the steel sharpening the steel in this instance is me willfully using the information and knowledge that I've gained to help you sharpen or step up things that you may not be aware about, and vice versa. It may be some things that you sharp on that I'm not, that you might want to put me on to. You know what I mean? You might want to leave it in the comments or something like that, or whatever the case may be about a certain idea, topic. I'm with that. I'm not standing on everything like certain things we are as a collective. We know it just is what it is. However, but I'm very open-minded, I'm going to say. You know what I mean? I'm very open-minded to anybody's views, as long as you can support your views with facts, not fairy tales. Period. You know what I mean? We got enough fairy tales. That stuff's not real. We've been raised off fairy tales. You dig what I'm saying? We was raised off fairy tales to the point where we was raised off the fairy tales, right? Since we was babies.
Okay, build on it, son.
You dig what I'm saying? Since we was like little babies, we was raised off of these fairy tales. And by fairy tales, I mean anything from Santa Claus to the Boogeyman, to Freddy Krueger, to the Tooth Fairy. You dig what I'm saying? All kinds of fairy tales. To if you split that pole, you're gonna have bad luck. We was raised off all kinds of fairy tales.
Make believe.
Make believe. You break that mirror, you got 7 years bad luck.
You step on a crack, you broke your mom's back.
You broke your mom's back. If you step on a crack. Hold on, here's some more.
Broke my mom back.
Here's some
many
more.
times, man.
Yo, facts. Today, so many times today have I broken my mom's back. That's what I'm saying to you, if you're gonna deal with that. Right. Check it out though. It's people who think that when it's raining and thundering and lightning, that's Jesus crying. Or maybe even bowling. This is what I've heard from adults. From grown people.
That's wild.
They've told me that when it's raining, this is Jesus crying. When it's thundering and lightning, they're up there playing bowling. The personification is real. You dig what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, this is what we've been conditioned to do though. Like, and it's rooted, because you may think, all right, where did that come from? Because that's what the show is all about, getting to the root of things. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. It's about getting to the root of things. So you think about, where did that come from? we come from a people of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? That's how we used to pass information, from telling stories. You understand what I'm saying? And like information though, not just stories. Like information as far as when it was going to rain. You think what I'm saying? Information like when it was going to get cold. You know what I mean? We understood how the universe worked around us, and the information we acquired from studying the universe around us, we turned into stories so we could teach it to our babies, so they can know how the universe worked around them. And this is how the art of storytelling begun. Based simple, just like that. So the same stories, people began to create their own stories for entertainment in these times. We didn't have TV. I mean, what I'm talking about now is we talking hundreds and hundreds. This is ancient. There were no TVs. There was no internet. You didn't have your iPhone X,
right?
Or your the 11, the iPhone. I don't even want to date the video, but the newest iPhone. You understand what I'm saying?
All you had was a fire.
You had fire. You did? In your family. In the sun. Thank you for that. You had the
stars.
sun.
And the stars.
And the stars, but they were so far away we couldn't really identify with them just yet on certain levels until we got, at first, the first star we had was the sun. And whether we know it or not, that's the first constant as far as life on this planet from then till now.
It's the sun.
It's the sun. You stick what I'm saying? That's the one thing we know has been there from the very, very beginning of man on this planet. We know for fact.
Every story verifies that.
Facts.
All stories are all people's.
Boom. All right, boom. So check it out, right? Another reason why we doing the podcast, and a lot of this reverting back to why we doing it, is one, because it's the first one. You know what I mean? We want to keep reminding you of our purpose here and the reason we standing here right now talking on these microphones. You know what I mean? Straight up and down is all about love. First and foremost. Love not just for ourselves, but for our peoples too. Period. We wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't about love. And that may sound soft or whatever. That shows something that you may have to deal with internally, because it's nothing soft about love at all. You dig what I'm saying? Love can at times appear to be soft, but there's nothing soft about love at all. That's where the term tough love comes from, I guess. You know what I mean? To show you different aspects and variations of what love truly is. And love, if you ask me, is emotions with information attached to them.
Okay.
That's how I see love. And let me explain, right?
Break it down, please.
When you got a couple people sitting together, we watching TV, right? Watching the news, to be more specific. And you know how the news is. Such and such shot over here, and critical condition. Over here, car accident. All kinds of horrible news you're going to hear on the news, especially in the inner city news. You're going to hear horrible stuff. We can watch it and we can feel remorse. You know what I mean? We can feel, empathy for what we're watching and what we're hearing, what we're seeing. No question, like, dang, that's messed up. But it's nothing in comparison to if it was somebody you knew personally. You know what I'm saying? It's a different, whole different dynamic. It hits different when it's somebody you know. So why is that? It's still a person. It's still somebody's life. It's still somebody who's not going to see tomorrow. So why would we feel different and then there being somebody you know? And the answer's obviously right in front of your face because you know that person.
It's
but
personal.
It's personal, right? But that's just to show and prove what I meant by love is information attached to emotions or feelings, because the information is you've acquired information about this person. You've learned about this person. You've learned and done things with this person. You know what I mean? To the point where there's now an attachment with this person. So now when you hear that this person's no longer here, it's like a part of you isn't here. So it hits different.
Well, what's crazy is that you can see the same thing when somebody say like Nipsey Hussle passes. You know, the majority of people never met him, never touched him, never was in his presence, but, his passing, because of just the music and his influence, you know, had people have that same feeling when you heard that he passed or really was murdered. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's like you said, it's a contrast because you can see the same thing on the news and hear about something that don't affect you. You know what I mean? Until it hits some certain point that do get personal. You know what I mean?
And that's good you said that because I never personally met Nipsey, right? Nor was I a long-time fan of Nips, just to keep it 100. I wasn't. However, maybe about 6 months, right when Victory Lap came out, which is probably, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was maybe a year, maybe a little longer before he passed. Victory Lap came out. It was my first getting put on the Nip. For whatever the reasons may be, there's all kinds of music flooding his eye. I just didn't have the opportunity to really explore what Nipsey Hussle was about until Victory Lap came out, and I became a mega fan off of that record. Tied to me listening to Victory Lap, obviously with technology being what it is today, I've watched tons of interviews. We've seen tons of videos, which what? Gives us what? More information about a person. You know what I mean? It gives you more of an attachment to a person, especially when they're genuine. Because you could real recognize real. We all know that statement. And when a person is genuine, it resonates with you. You understand their narrative and you connect with them. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, he became a part of you, in a sense. You dig what I'm saying? So, when he passed, it was like, dang, I lost my man. I felt like my man passed. And I never met that brother.
Right.
It felt like my man. But that was the love. That was the connection, the information attached to what? The emotion. You dig what I'm saying? Because we all know the feeling of hurt. You know what I'm saying? And we don't waste those feelings of hurt on things that we don't know. Because we be hurt all the time. People getting hurt every day. All day. Every minute. We looked it up. We was looking at that the other day. We was looking at the birth rate and the death rate on the planet.
Ridiculous.
Motherfucker die every 5 minutes, 3 minutes or some crazy shit like that. 4 babies is born every second. No exaggeration. It's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? There's that many people back and forth all the time. It's too much to put all your emotion into every time somebody died. Oh my God. I fucked up you be fucked up all the time. Like you have to delegate them feelings out.
Yeah.
You do what I'm saying? It's harder now, one, because there's so much. There's a lot of detachment, but there's also a lot of attachment to things we normally wouldn't be attached to, whether it's sports or entertainment as far as music goes and movies. You got actors and all of that. And even with that, it's so many of them. When you compile them all together as far as celebrities, people get all kinds of attachments to people that they never met in their life. Probably never will. And you telling me love is weak. Motherfuckers used to be and they do it today. I don't see it as much, but they used to be fainting at Michael Jackson concerts and shit, son. They never met this man before off his records, B.
They gotta drag him out
with the paramedic.
Stretcher move.
Never met him before that. And you telling me love weak?
He just turn around and flick his little Jerry Curl hair.
What?
It's a rat.
I got excited.
At least 3.
You know what I'm saying?
At least 3 white girls out of there.
Gone. They was placing bets on how many would fall when he do it. Who drops first? How many would drop when he does it?
Blind from that what?
Come on, man. Raise the stakes. You know what I mean? We gonna parlay it.
Right.
Ain't that how it go, Ace? Where Ace at? I saw Ace McCloud walk up in here. That's what's up. Yeah, peace, man. Definitely, man.
Love's a strong emotion, man. It's a strong emotion.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
man. The strongest. And again, that's why we doing the show. Because it's about love and the love that I got for our people. You know what I mean? I got a crazy love for our people. And I can't be sitting on the steps, right? Paying attention to everything that's going around me, watching everything. And I see somebody walking across the street and they phone on Instagram, sending kissy face emojis, not paying attention, crossing the street, and the 16 bus is coming, and I don't say something.
Right.
Because nowadays, the person to put their phone up,
Turn the camera on.
turn the camera on.
Watch that.
You dig me? Turn the camera on and oh shit, look at this. And we'll watch him get hit by the 16 bus.
Well, he ain't gonna watch him get hit. He gonna watch the number of likes. That's what he gonna watch. Yeah, he gonna watch. He gonna watch the number of likes go
And
up.
I'm
go down.
let me see. Time be flying, yo. I'm extremely rude, right? Again, once again, for those who just tuning in,
It's the first show, son.
it's the first one. I know Diamond is Still, right? Diamond is Still podcast, and I'm crazy rude because not once did I introduce anybody. We just on here talking, right?
Just went right in.
Running our miles. We was that excited
Jump right in.
to jump right into.
Who the fuck is these dudes, man?
You know what I mean? We was that excited. They ain't playing no music. This nigga's running his mouth. I hear y'all. It's cool. I'm gonna get to the point.
What is
You already
happening?
know. We building. That's what's happening, man. We changing the thinking of what people are, what they used to, or what's normal. But to get to it, a lot of people know me and they recognize me when they see me as SunWun. That's SUNWUN. That's a walk of life that I've been walking a long time. SunWun is an acronym standing for something you never witnessed until now. And the songs that we played when we first opened the show up, there was some records that I did, and the whole time we were building up to do this, I'm like, yo, we ain't gonna play no music, no, at all. We building. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to address. We just getting acquainted right now. You know what I mean? We got time. We about to get busy. Trust me, we about to get busy. You know what I mean? We getting acquainted right now, and the whole time, people didn't realize what was really going on out here. You know what I'm saying? That's why we stepped up the way we did. We got the libations pulled up. You know what I'm saying? We got it all pulled up.
Yeah.
When we was doing the music, right? It was even King Talk with that. This is what I'm saying. It was King Talk in the music as well. You know what I mean? We wouldn't do it. It got to a point we was doing it so long that we recognized the platform that the music is on, and the amount of people that you reach is a lot wider than what you would normally reach if you weren't doing music. And that's on any level.
Right.
That's on any level. If you're the most independent artist in the world, you recording your records in your bedroom. You dig me? You making your beats yourself on Fruity Loops. You making them joints yourself on Fruity Loops. You recording your records in your bedroom, right? I had to emphasize that. It's just you. Your mom's bought you a laptop for Christmas or your birthday, bought you a laptop, and you making beats and you recording. You upload your joints to YouTube. Now, the week go by, you got 10 views on your video, right? The most independent kid, he got 10 views. That's 10 people he reached. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
No, it's not 100 or 1,000.
You gotta take the wins when you get the wins. You know.
It's all the point I'm making is
Everything's a plus.
it's always a win if it was only 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
You're reaching more than you would have reached if you didn't do that.
Better than zero.
So having that power, I recognized that at the time, and I've noticed that. Let's use this platform of making songs at the time is what I'm saying to teach. Because you
Say
can
a little something.
Yeah, to say it, throw a little jewel in there. You know,
Right.
and that's how the King Talk was developed.
We owe it to him.
We owe it. And the reason we owe it is because I'm not gonna watch you get hit by the 16 bus while you scrolling Instagram, crossing the street, not looking.
Right.
And that's what's happening when I see a person doing something when I'm aware of a better way to do it, I should say. And if I don't offer a hand to help or assist in what we trying to do, then who am I to complain about anything? You dig what I'm saying? We complain all day long, and to the point where we just separate from people. It's all about individuality now. I don't know new friends, and I don't want to know you. And I don't, you know what I mean? We ain't come up together. I ain't messing with you. Everybody's shady. We already putting it in the atmosphere that everybody's shady. Everybody? Damn. Everybody up to something?
Everybody ain't shady though.
Of course not. You know what I'm saying? But that's what's put in there because they understand that we weaker when we separated.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the reason. You got to understand there's a reason why certain things is put into the atmosphere. Certain things is put into the atmosphere to keep us in a position where we're not at our best. Certain things is put in the atmosphere to keep us in a place where we're not who we truly are. You know what I'm saying, God? Go ahead, God.
Nah, I was gonna say you finished the intros.
No, I got you.
Yeah,
We gonna get to it. We still ain't get to it, right? Yo, we building, son. Hold on, we building. Hold on. We building. To the left of me right here. Because every week we bringing the guests up, man. We making the guests a part of the whole discussion every time because we want to get different insights and different views. And everybody who comes up is somebody not just of an importance to me, but I think is an importance to the community and the progression of everything that we're trying to do. So to the left of me, I got my man Guy Lang, who I call my lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? He might want to call it something different, but you know he's my lawyer. You know what I mean? He gives me legal advice. He gives me information. He ain't supposed to give me advice.
I give that man information.
He give me information.
The same information I'm gonna give you.
Right, exactly. So, you know, we got a line of questions for my man G Money. That's what I call him. But Guy Lang, he's definitely in the building with us.
Peace.
And right over to my further left from Guy Lang, I got my brother over there, Mr. Divine Universal.
Peace.
You know, I brought him in to add on to the ideas and the topics that we dealing with today. So, you know, this is who's up on the panel right now. We got a few other people in the building we'll be bringing in and out of the situation. But, you know, we up here to build. That's what the whole purpose of the podcast is, to change the climate, to change the temperature of what you're used to. You understand what I'm saying? We could do the hip-hop all day long, and I'm with that. You know what I mean? Nothing changed with that. I'm continue to be with that. However, we still got to keep our eye on what's important as well. And there's some things that's a little bigger than hip-hop. Not a little, a lot bigger than hip-hop. You know what I mean? And our people is the first and foremost. And love for our people is what I'm talking about.
True indeed.
This is why we here with the Diamond and Steel podcast. You dig?
Feel you. So we do. You said you had some topics and whatnot. Certain things you want to do to kind of get right to.
I do, right? But real fast, right? Before we get to the topic, we could segue into that, right?
You got time.
That's cool. I appreciate that. I'm trying to reach and relate to whoever we can. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's listening, you know what I mean? We could shoot the line out to whoever's available. I'm trying to get it rolling. You understand what I'm saying? This is why we're here, right? And the separation comes from us not knowing ourselves. And I've noticed every problem that we struggle with as a people stems from the lack of knowledge of self. You dig what I'm saying? Indeed. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to go to my man Guy Lang first before we get directly into why he's walking the path that he's walking, for the career path that he's chosen for himself. But I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think is the answer to, or some steps that we should take in regards to stopping all the violence in the streets right now? Because real fast, I see a lot of stop the violence concerts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I see a lot of people marching.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I see all kinds of events on the radio that's geared towards quote unquote stop the violence.
Right.
Everybody know the violence needs to stop. Nobody
Right.
wants violence.
Right.
I don't want violence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But nobody never really talks about how to stop the violence.
It's a tough one, man.
It is. But what do you think is some of the, what's your view, maybe just one or two, on what you think is a step in the right direction into stopping the violence in the black community nowadays?
I think the first step is, like you said, the first step is love. You gotta, and love can manifest in a lot of different ways. Like you said, you have emotion attached with information. So if you got a community, which we all have community, we build community every day. We live with each other, we work with each other, we see each other every day. What the way to allow that to show in the community is we need more what we would call credible community leaders. And I think to a degree our communities are missing that, and it goes part and parcel with the criminal justice system and how we criminalize what black folks do every day. And So to show love to our community, we need brothers to step up and resume the role that we had, a lot of years ago. Not saying that it's not brothers out there doing it now, but it's apparent that it's not enough. Because if it was enough, then there wouldn't be, I don't think, the same level of violence. Because I know I got a son, and I check him. I want to make sure that he's not, I'm gonna give him the most jewels that I possibly can to guide him so that he don't make certain, egregious errors when it comes to his peers and how to handle or how to deal with certain situations. And if I'm giving him those jewels, and then my brother is giving his son those jewels, and my other brother giving his son those jewels, but it's apparent that it's some folks out there that's not getting those jewels.
Even when they do get the jewels, though, they still go astray. You understand? And I'm curious, like, a lot of times people still, they can have all the jewels in the world and they just won't activate them. You know what I'm saying? You got, just like, I guess that's saying you could lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My question, to piggyback kind of off of what you were saying and then to dig a little more into that is, when you say we need more credible role models, or something to that nature you said, right?
Credible community leaders.
Credible community leaders.
Right.
I agree, right? My question, I guess, is what does that look like? You understand what I'm saying? Because what we're talking about right now is stop the violence. Right? Stop the violence and how we do it. The people who are causing the violence are certain types of people. You dig what I'm saying? Like, is some hood shit going on, the violence we talking about stopping. Just to speak frankly. You know what I mean? So what we and you may view as a credible community leader may not be viewed by the people who are actually causing the violence as a credible leader, community leader that would influence them enough to stop the violence.
But in that part of the population, they have credible leaders too.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? So it's they call it honor amongst thieves, right? So everybody got some kind of code. Like, it should be a code like it is. Like, you're not supposed to shoot when there's kids on the street. Like,
well, we know that. What happens when that code is broken, though? Because you're right. There should be a code, but there's no fucking code today.
Then you need the community to step in, and those other leaders of that particular group or section in our community should take care of that. Like, you created that problem.
Right. And
those are the folks I'm talking about. Like,
so the show, once again, we tuned in to Diamond and Still podcast, right? The show is all about going to the root, right? So you say, all right, now we go to the community, and they should be held responsible for what.
But let me walk that back. Let me just walk back a little bit, because I'm not saying, what I didn't do is qualify where those community leaders have gone, right? A good bit of them have found themselves criminalized and incarcerated or under supervision of the state for, frankly, acts that wouldn't be criminalized in any other part of society except in our community, right? So folks returning home, right? Those are credible community leaders. Just because Main Man did a dime, or he did, he might have did a letter and got brought home because, they found that, life for juveniles is cruel and unusual punishment. But this is a brother that you don't know what his potential might have been based on whatever that mistake he did, however long ago it was. That could have been a community leader. So, and I'm not saying that folks are absent or are missing for any reason that they created. It could be based on what our system perpetuates, which is the school to prison pipeline. So I'm thinking work on bringing brothers home, giving them, opportunities to be productive members of society, but supporting them with resources based in their communities, where they are, and actually bring it to them how they need it. And I think at that point, that's how you show love to folks. Like, you give them those opportunities. You find folks that's willing to say, okay, fuck that that record that you had. We know that's bullshit or whatever. Even if it's not, I'm gonna still give you a second chance because you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? And when you get the community to step in and do shit like that, like say, you know what, I'm gonna rock out with Main Man because my brother got pinched 5 years ago, and I know he's a good dude, and I know he could have used another opportunity. And that's when I'm saying credible community, you know what I mean, leaders.
You're
I feel
right.
that. Yo, can I add on?
Go ahead.
I wanted to add on. You know, I definitely feel what you're saying.
That's
And,
Devon speaking right now. Go ahead.
Peace. Yeah. So, just as far as like when you're saying like what I think will help with stopping the violence, in addition to, because I'm like, all of these are parts of a solution. It's not just one answer at all. You know what I mean? It's a process overall. Like what I see is it really start with education. You know what I mean? Like the education system isn't set up at all to empower, you know, our youth, especially the inner city youth. You know what I mean? When we was growing up, we remember schools like Swanson or Swinson. Skill centers. You know what I'm saying? People knew certain schools you go to and you leave out with a trade
De La Salle.
at 18, 17 years old.
So check it
You
out,
know what
right?
I mean? And they
Go ahead.
So they took that from the school system. You know what I'm saying? Now the school system is based on really achieving scores to keep the schools open and keep they money going.
Funding.
So the schools are a perfect opportunity to implement conflict resolution classes early on before conflict happens.
Right.
You can start that in 6th grade, 5th grade, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? You go to school and it's reading, writing, arithmetic.
Right.
Since 30, 40, 50 years, the same program. And the same program only gets simpler and simpler. And I see a lot of that as the opportunity lies in the education system to be able to really enrich our children, you know what I mean, and the youth coming up to have better opportunities, better things to look forward to, because they really don't. You know what I mean? Our knowledge what's going on with the school system right now, and I wouldn't expect anything but a kid to come out of there unruly.
Right. And you know, here's what I say to that. Just to build on what you're saying. I agree that it does start in school, and that piece that we spoke about earlier, that's cool. We need that too. But in addition to that, and probably more important than that, is like you said, starting with education and starting in schools. And the way the numbers look, right, son, the numbers, they say like 1 in 3 African American youth is going to find himself incarcerated at some point in his lifetime. That's lower than the number of African American youth that are expected to go to college. So I think we roll it back to school, education, middle school, elementary school even to some degrees, because, you know, folks is out there killing little elementary school kids, you know what I mean? And they need to understand what's going on, and they need to be exposed to
Elementary school kids be on the block.
No, check it out.
Right,
Time
yeah,
out.
picture.
No, but
Right.
look, check it, right? Check it.
But I was saying, just to wrap that up, right, that to get into the schools and actually teach something about criminal justice or the criminal injustice system that is at some point going to affect them. Not if it will, but when it will. It may not be them directly. They may be 2 out of the 3 that's not going to find themselves in a jam. But the numbers say that they should be educated in that. In particular, that, you know, and I think, you know, financial literacy and, you know, a lot of socialization skills, because, you know, social media kind of got us jammed. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to wrap that up.
No, you good, because I'll let y'all both ride, because I ain't hear nothing wrong and nothing that either one of you was saying. I just want to add on, because, again, I'm going to the root, right? Now, the violence we're talking about, again, how we going to stop the violence. Let's go back to what the question was, right? The violence that we're referring to, and this may seem silly, but obviously the violence we're referring to isn't being caused by 6-year-olds. You dig me? It's not being caused by, maybe in some cases, 10-year-olds. They tripping. But overall, these are teenagers, adolescents, and young adults that's causing this violence, right?
Right.
That we're trying to stop, right? The methods and the tactics that you two brothers spoke about, I think, are very effective, but they're effective to toddlers, to start there with those tactics, because it's not going to work on the ones who are already gone. You feel the ones who are actually if you're at the point where you have a handgun, a loaded handgun, and you're outside, hear me out, you're outside in daytime with a loaded handgun shooting into a crowd you're gone. You're already gone. You know how much that takes to do that? Or should I say, where a person is at in their head to do that? That's what we talking about. What we're talking about stopping. Them people don't care about no motherfucking program. I'm just not trying to be smart. Right, I'm not.
Right. No,
we're talking. The question was, how do you stop the violence? Providing there's programs, I'm sure, to some capacity available right now, somewhere in Philadelphia. There's an after school program somewhere. There's a fucking basketball court or something you can go play ball at. There's all kind. I got my daughter in the program where they do double dutch.
Well, I mean,
all of it's programs you
keep
can
it
put
a thing,
them
but
in.
some of them programs they cost a couple dollars. Everybody ain't got a couple dollars.
True.
Everybody don't have access to those programs.
True.
So you gotta, some everybody don't have those opportunities.
Okay, so check it out, right?
We wish they did though.
Even the ones who do, right? Because in a lot of the situations of what I'm thinking about, I'm not talking about no money. They are free. The ones I'm referring to, like at the Linfest Center, it's all free. You just got to sign up. You know what I mean? That's a big community building over there that nobody even knows about or takes advantage of. You think of stuff like that.
Right.
And the reason they don't, or they may have heard about it, is because it's not what's popular nowadays. It's not what's seen as being cool nowadays. It's not what the people are viewing nowadays as successful. You know what I mean? Because it's bombarded and it's beat on our heads to be successful. You got to get it now. That ain't it. That's not the lifestyle of getting it now. And when you thinking like that, it's very difficult to chill out for a minute. You think what I'm saying? It's very difficult to not be in the grind, not be in the streets every day. It's very difficult to do that if you're not on point like that. You understand what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make is, if you're not going to really like focus on the actual problem, like the people look at education as being corny nowadays. The people who are the problem I'm referring to. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you fix that? You understand you dig where I'm coming from with this? I'm not trying to.
That's a tough fix though, right?
I know. You understand what I'm saying? But that's the violence.
Well, some folks ain't gonna be fixed. Like some folks, listen, I'm not saying open up the gates and let everybody out. Like, I don't think I'm saying that. Like,
Right,
it should
right.
be
No doubt.
pandemonium. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying that. Like, it's cats that did some fucked up shit that need to sit
Right,
in
facts.
a long ass time out. You know what I mean? Maybe not come home, whatever. But those cats, you kind of giving something up with just being a part of humanity. Like,
Right.
nobody's perfect, and I can't
Right.
say what this man, his imperfection is worse than my imperfection, whatever it is. But for that, like, you gotta go chill for a while. Like, you need a time out from society for a stretch. But I'm not talking about them. But I think you can catch a good bit of folks with education. I do think you can, but we rely on the wrong folks to educate us.
Exactly.
You can't let folks that have subjugated you educate you.
Exactly.
They're not going to give you the jewels you need to break that subjugation. They're going to give you what you need to stay under that subjugation.
Exactly.
True indeed.
Exactly. And
True
that's the
indeed.
point that I'm leading towards, because it's funneled through the community for us to hate ourselves. You know what I mean? That's the thought of the land where we come from. Like, no one loves ourselves anymore. Everything that's reflective of who we are as original people, as black people, is not about love. And this is why we even holding these conversations right now. I think to stop the violence, we got to teach the people to love ourselves. And that's the task.
Love ourselves enough to educate ourselves.
Exactly, but to even want to educate ourselves, we got to love ourselves and know ourselves first to want more for ourselves. The education has to start with about us, period, and how dope we are.
Well,
you think what I'm saying?
I'm seeing over my couple years that I've been, you know what I mean, spinning around on this ball. I'm starting to see with my eyes that that level is increasing.
It is.
So
I would agree with that.
Right. So if that's the case, and we move
But
in
hold
the
on,
right
let's make
direction,
sure we're talking about the same level. The level of people of self-awareness is increasing.
self-awareness, self-awareness, and self-love.
And
You know what I mean?
self-love,
Like a combination of the two. Because I don't know if you can have one without the other. If you're aware of yourself, how can you not love yourself? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of married, but in my mind, like, if you really are aware of who you are, how can you not love yourself?
Right.
It kind of go hand in hand.
It kind of, yeah, I see what you're saying. It kind of do go hand in hand, but this the crazy part. So many of us don't. Like, so many of us secretly hate who we are or how we look and things of that nature, and that is the root of the violence. We were violent to ourselves first. We got to go to the root. Like, think about what will cause a person to want to kill his brother, because at the end of to the point where motherfuckers get mad when they call you bro. I ain't your motherfucking brother. Don't call me bro. Cats get mad now when we brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We is. That's a fact.
Right.
That ain't my opinion. Ain't how I feel because I want the conversation to go my way. That's a fact. Like, all of us in this room right now got a father, whether they're here or not. We all got or had a father, right?
Right.
And our fathers' fathers had fathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you follow them same steps with all of our fathers and keep going back far enough, somewhere, me and you guys, we got the same father. Our father's gonna connect somewhere. You keep going back far enough.
Right.
That's the jewel I'm talking about, as far as we genuinely are all brothers.
Right.
So what is it in a person to make him want to kill his brother? Before even getting to the point of killing his brother, what is it in a person to make him hate himself, which would make it easier for him to hate his brother in order to kill his brother? That's what we gotta address,
Like
and that's
they
why
was taught to love something other than themselves.
facts. And this is what I'm getting to. That's it. And I'm trying to, and again, it may not seem like it. I don't want to steer off topic, but everything that we're talking about is what an attempt to answer the question on how to stop the violence. And the only way that you'll ever stop any violence is if you educate the people about themselves and the greatness in themselves and the love of themselves, so they won't put so much energy into things that just aren't ourselves.
Well, let me say this, right? Some cats you're gonna need to be violent, right? Some
Facts.
cats you're gonna need to be violent. You can't just tell everybody chill, like, cause at a time you're gonna want to tap that man on the shoulder and put him on the line for you. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll do that.
Always
for
need
you.
some warriors.
Right, exactly. So, so we want to keep that. We don't want to just be like, no, like stop the violence all the way. I mean, you gotta, you know.
But
what I mean?
see, all right, how do you stop violence in the black community against ourselves? Because I don't want to say black on black crime, but just the because war is violent. I get it, and sometimes you gotta go to war. But I don't. That's not the type of violence we talk. We talk about the violence amongst ourselves to more solidify who we are as a whole. Or are you saying that you can't stop it?
In every part of society, you have a level of violence, you know, in one group against itself, right? And the numbers in the black community aren't but a hair's breadth different than any other community. Mm-hmm. So we focusing on something that the whole world is not focusing on, looking at itself. Like somebody coined the term black on black crime, but there's white on white crime, Oriental on Oriental crime, Asian on Asian crime. You know, it goes
just as much as all
exactly.
Of them. Right.
So,
that's why I ain't even want to lean on that.
Right.
Facts.
So what I'm saying is, like, okay, like some of them cats is gone, but we live in America, and America says to us violence is totally acceptable. Like, we live in a country that was born out of violence. Like, and not just lightweight, you know what I mean? I'm gonna knock you upside your head violence, but, you know, Trail of Tears, like, I'm murdering millions of you cats type violence.
Facts.
So when that awakening is on the precipice and it's about to, you know what I mean, pop off, according to where I live, I'm America's baby. Violence is gonna be necessary. Boom.
This is a country that got 3 guns for every citizen.
Right. So
right.
And we support that. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes I'm not saying
the violence that we're talking about stopping should not be the type of violence that's towards. It should be more so violence towards changing things. You dig what I'm saying? If you could to keep it the way you're speaking, this violence is not the violence we're talking about stopping.
Yeah, we just don't have it directed in the right way.
Right, exactly. That's right. We have this violence has to be redirected, and that's the violence. Let's stop the direction, because we could change the question as long as it's getting to the same destination. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're looking for peace ultimately at the end of the day, and peace, the definition of peace is ultimately the absence of chaos. This is what we're looking for.
So you can't have peace without war.
Right. But the war will bring peace.
Can't have war without
Violence?
without violence.
Right.
So
it sounds like we starting a revolution, yo.
No, it don't. It don't. We're not doing that.
Little bit.
Look, man,
but it wouldn't be a bad
dealing
thing,
dealing with the violence, with especially we
But
talk
in the
about
way
the
we are.
youth, and we saying within our communities, a lot of it goes back to really everything is real. The accessibility of the weaponry that's out now, that's another root cause that people gloss over. The guns, they don't, they're not growing in our backyards. You know what I'm saying?
They're not. But
And
nor are they
guns-
shooting themselves.
No, I feel you, God, but let me expand on what I'm saying is that, in our day, we hear about a lot of stuff. So we was building about something before, and we like, damn, the young boy shot the other kid, and it was over a girl. Or damn, they shot the other boy, and it was over some little small petty dispute that we know at our time we'd have fought.
Right.
It'd have been fisticuffs, maybe a couple rumbles, back and forth.
Right.
Whole neighborhood got into it,
Right.
but nobody got killed. It was just people got slapped up. Maybe somebody got scraped it real bad, whatever. Because guns wasn't that abundant. They abundant. It's too easy for a youth to do that, and that's something that need to be looked at, because they not. How can a 16-year-old have a gun? Where is he getting these guns, and who's getting them to him? And that's something to look at the OGs that's operating in that system and allowing that to trickle down. At one point, that never really trickled down.
And the reason why,
You know what I mean?
and the reason why things like that, because one thing's always tied to the other, right? You would think, what the hell would make somebody sell a 15-year-old a gun?
A AR-15.
A profit.
Facts, and that's what I'm
That's
leading
just the
into.
profit.
Exactly, and the fact that,
Right.
and we hear the saying all the time, right? All money isn't good money.
Right.
Right? So, yes, absolutely. I mean, that's a given. The profit, sure. That's why anybody sells anything. It's for the profit. But the point of it is a gun to a 16-year-old, like the same dynamic of why you shouldn't be selling. Like, you wouldn't sell a bag of weed to a 10-year-old. You dig what I'm saying? That's totally different.
That's
I know,
because-
you dig what I'm saying? Like, you
To
would,
most people.
Right.
Yeah.
most people.
But there go the twist, though. The person that's selling the gun know that gun is not going to bring any harm to him or his folks.
Or will it?
It ain't. No. When you get down to maybe a lower level, but the upper level, come on, like, Lil John ain't important like
He's not, but
10,000
nor
weapons
is he. Nor is Little John. He's not buying. Little John's not buying it from the FBI. He's buying it from Steve up the street.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, why would Steve? What makes Steve want to sell a gun to a 16-year-old? We already get the FBI or whoever the fuck is bringing the guns. I don't know. No one knows for real who it is.
Well, we
That's
know
some
black folks
conspiracy.
ain't manufacturers.
Facts.
They
We
ain't,
do
they not,
know
they
that's
ain't,
a
they
fact.
ain't never made a gun. I mean,
Right.
maybe they have, but I'm just they're not on a mass scale where they're these are the weapons that are
right,
killing.
Right,
our
but we
folks.
do know and understand that there is.
So that's the root of it right there. Boom. When we simplify things all the way down, that's the simplest point, right? Is the manufacturer. We know for a fact that black folks ain't manufacturing the guns that's murdering other black
That's
folks.
a fact.
So if you know that, then you know we only get into it at
But
some part in the
gotta get
process.
to the
but,
root, though.
but that man
You
that
gotta-
made that gun, his folks ain't getting affected by it other than
At all.
his great
getting money off that.
grandkids is going to be eating.
Right, but
like,
what I'm saying is, all right, I hear you. I think we getting lost in translation right because I'm with you.
All right,
I'm not
cool.
disagreeing with you
all right,
at
let me-
all.
let me get off my soapbox.
A little bit.
A little bit.
You
All
good.
right,
You
I'm
good though.
pump
Hold
the
on. You
brakes and
100% good. I want
All
you
right.
don't listen. Are you good? What I'm saying is, I get it.
All right.
There's another entity who's in touch because we gotta break it all the way the fuck down, and we're gonna figure out how to fix this shit.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? And pardon my language, but it's the biggest curse was being dumb, deaf, and blind. So we ain't gonna get caught up on words right now. You dig? So check it out. We ain't making the guns. I get it.
Right.
Somebody made them. There's a a building somewhere made the guns.
Right.
There's a guy, a group of guys. I don't know.
Right.
We gonna call them the alphabet dudes, right?
Right.
They get the guns. How many they get? Obviously hundreds. Thousands. Obviously.
Thousands, right.
Obvious. There's shootings every day,
Millions.
everywhere. Millions.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They take these guns
Don't count the bullets.
and they go.
Right.
Listen.
That's
they go
where,
to
that's
the
where
hood.
the money's
That's
at.
the profit.
All right, no, check it out. Hear me out. Stay with me. Stay with me. They take the guns to the hood, right? The guy who bought it from the building to the hood is not the guy who's giving it to the 10-year-old. Is the point I'm making.
Okay.
He's giving it to a high upper dude in the hood. Meaning we got a mole. We got a adult, a grown person who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no other way or they're going to a gang or something like, here, man, these joints is
No,
free.
you said it right. It's a grown ass.
It's a guy who
Somewhere
knows and don't care, right?
Right. Yeah.
And this is why he don't care. Because he don't love himself. He don't know himself, and desperation has kicked in. Desperation for what? Survival is what it's all about. He's doing all of that for self-preservation and survival. He can care less about anybody else.
Okay.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do we fix and stop that? Is some of the things we need to be entertaining. Not him per se, because he's gone. He gonna keep getting his bread. That's like trying to tell the fucking Food and Drug Administration that stop selling cancer drugs and shit. That's not happening. We gotta get it to the point where we're ignoring that shit. We're the point where they can't move their product on us no more. Is how we got to get it to. And the only way we can get it to that point, because other than that, if we don't figure out a way how to fix certain shit, we're done. It's over.
Well, you're not in America gonna, I don't think ever find a point where folks gonna be without their guns. It's written into the Constitution.
We ain't talking about being without guns. That ain't what I'm saying at all.
All right.
Zero. We all got guns. That's not what we talking about. What we talking about is how we use the thinking behind how these guns are being used. We all need to be armed up. God damn it, the podcast is on Glockaware Radio,
Shit,
baby.
you got a right to.
Like, we all about guns, but
It's your
it's
right.
nothing right.
You don't
There's
even
nothing
need a
wrong
reason.
with guns.
You don't even need
get
a
it.
reason, my
Don't-
guy.
I-
Just
I
go
don't-
get yours.
Right, hold on.
No
hold
reason
on.
at all.
Right, hold up. Let's not confuse that. I am not in no way, shape, form, or fashion advocating not arming yourself.
All right.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's your right.
In fact,
Right.
I advocate that you
Right.
arm yourself.
Right.
I
It's
do.
your right. It's your
That's
right.
That's not what I'm saying. Because there's plenty of people who are armed and don't be out here doing senseless murders.
Right.
That's what we're focused. That's the
Right.
focus is on. We need to get the guns out of those people's hands.
So it's a small percentage of people that's moving the guns into the communities where little 10-year-old Johnny is knocking off the little 4-year-old girl.
And it's a small percentage of people
Right.
who are even willing to move the way that the people who are bringing the guns
So
in the
that's
community. Because it seems like everybody's crazy right now. You watch the news, you go on Instagram, look at fucking no gun zone. It seems like everybody's crazy. It seems like people getting shot in the face every single goddamn day, and the whole world is fucking bananas. That's what it seems like. But it's not that as bad as you think.
No, it's not.
It's a very small percentage of fuckheads that's doing shit
Right.
that's being glorified on so many levels. Like the one little girl that gets shot, which I'm not speaking down on any of that shit at all because that's fucked up. But a girl will get shot, but it'll be on 9 different news channels. It'll be here. So it seems like it's just everywhere. They just shooting little girls everywhere, and
or
it just
even
seems
worse,
crazy. Like,
to
you know what I'm saying?
understand that she's one of the 5 that died that minute.
Right. Back to that.
On some
You see
real
what I'm
shit.
saying? Because that's certain death is a part of life. We know that. It's just how death comes about that we trying to fix. You dig what I'm saying? No one should be going through that. If we could have anything to say about it, because why wouldn't we?
Self-love. Like you said, you got to care about
Self-love.
yourself. You got to give a fuck about yourself.
Yeah,
But
that's the difficult part is trying to bring that self-love to, like you said, certain people you have to look at as not really, I mean, you don't want to call anybody a lost cause because it's always, time or, space for redemption. But, you have to focus on the youth and saving the youth. You know what I
Right.
mean? The youth is what the future is going to be made of, and that's what you really got to target,
It seems contradictory when I say It's about our people. And this whole podcast is about the upliftment and the unification of our people to stand strong. And in the same breath, I'm saying self-love. Because some people may view self-love as loving self, just my individual self. I want to clarify that. Self-love is based upon loving your people. And to truly understand the dynamic of that, you got to understand and see you in others and others in you. You see what I'm saying?
So it's impossible to love yourself without loving
others.
Right, you can't. So that's a part of self-love.
That's a part of self-love.
Right.
Exactly. Like self-love isn't about loving yourself and no new friends.
But our community stopped learning. You know, not everybody. You know what? And I'm not even going to generalize like that. But parts of our community, or to a degree, maybe our community has stopped loving itself. And when you get that, that's when you get like just young boys running rampant and doing dumb shit. And then you get the, you know what I mean, everybody chicks on $40.
But then you think
dumb shit like
you would think like that sounds ridiculous. Like, why won't I love myself? What is he talking about? Somebody listening to this might not really digest the dynamics of what that is. You know what I mean? I love him. He crazy. You don't know me. I love myself, and they don't really understand that. They don't. You know what I mean? Since we were babies, we was taught not to love ourselves.
Right. So you got to turn that all the way off.
You got to turn it all the way off. First of all, when you even talk about the idea or the concept of good hair versus bad hair, right?
Right.
Now check this out.
Is it crazy that they just now passing laws across the country that it's cool for you to wear your fucking hair natural the way that shit was born on your fucking head?
That's insane.
In certain places, they saying it's cool now. My nigga, it's cool now. But how can you, when you, what side of history you going to lean on when you look back and be like, we had to give cats permission to wear their hair?
Okay. How do I take it? This is the first show. I don't even know how to do it. You got a caller calling in. That's live. All right. Hey, we gonna switch right into that piece. What's good? Who this? You calling in to the Diamond and Steel podcast? What up? We're on the Glock line. What's good? Who there?
Hello?
Yo, I hear you. What's good?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's good, G?
Yeah, sound like you like going in there like that.
Oh, all right. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Let me try to call back.
No, you good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
That's better. What's going on, G? How you, bro?
Much better, man.
What's good?
Got a very good topic tonight, you brothers talking about, man.
Hey, man, every night we trying to have a good one for the people to build on, man. Every night, man. Yeah,
it's crazy because, I hear my brothers talking about love and stuff like that. The thing is, and you guys know, I've had my years of working in education and things like that, so I see a lot that our youth deal with. But a lot of times, how can you expect them to be able to love when they're not being loved at home?
Right. You're right, G.
If they're not being shown what love is, how they going to demonstrate that?
Right, that's fast.
Then, then they get the feeling as though they don't know how to.
You're right.
So when they don't know how to, they're only exhibiting anger. You know what I mean? Because there's been no signs of love. There's been no showing of love. Right. A lot of times our kids deal with grown folks' issues, and their mind is not capable of adjusting. You know what I mean? And even sometimes when you do give them love, they don't know how to receive it because they haven't been given it before.
Right. Something new to them.
So
right.
Yeah. So it's basically we got to get back to showing them what love is. And a lot of times that comes from being able to not just talk to them or show them things. We show them that through listening.
Right.
Most of our kids want, adults to be able to listen to understand where they come from. A lot of times we look to get our points across. We try to get to be able to show them this or that, but what we refuse to do is listen to them.
Facts.
So I just wanted to, chime in and let you brothers know that the topic is real. I appreciate you guys talking about something with substance, but a lot of times our kids, go through what they go through is because they're not receiving that love as well as they don't know how to receive it.
Absolutely, that's facts, Big Nose, man. Salute, man. I appreciate that, man. It's a jewel for sure, man.
See, part of the challenge is like just what you said. I'm sorry, your name again, bro?
That was Big Nose. This Big Nose.
Big Nose
Right.
is like we can talk
For
like
whatever
this.
reason, we going in and out again.
All right. Well, just listen for a second, and you chill, and I'm gonna talk. So no, what I'm saying is, it's what you just talked about and what you just expressed to us, like. And I got to look internally too, right? When I ask the question and say, you know, have I had that? How many young people have I had that same conversation with, or how many do I aspire to have that conversation with? You know what I'm saying? And if I haven't, because I got to look at myself, and you know, I've had that talk with my kids, and everything, but I haven't necessarily had that talk with everybody that I meet on the streets. You know what I mean? Who wants to come off like a weirdo and all that? But the thing is, it's not being a weirdo. It's like expressing what we need in our communities for growth and, you know, for progress. So I dig what you're saying, and I would challenge other people who listen to, you know, or checking out this cast today to say to themselves, like, what am I doing to make sure that I'm having that conversation with somebody? That it's a tough conversation to have. It's challenging, especially, you know, you feel like you a man and you gotta, you know, be masculine at all times, and that's not necessarily what folks call a masculine quality. But I think it's probably the most masculine quality you could have is to love your brother, right?
Right.
So
that was one of the first things we talked about was love ain't soft.
right, it's not at all. It's
Exactly.
like it's not at all. So we got to challenge ourselves to have those conversations with young people, and not just the young people that we give a shit about, but all young people, because they all deserve it. And apparently, it's somebody that didn't teach them at home, like you said, how to love or how to give love. So that's what I, you know, boom.
But even when you think about it, right? You say that someone didn't teach them at home, because a lot of times people speak about their parents, certain parents not being there, or they may not have had both parents, or might have been just the mom, you know, just the moms or just your father that was there. And we realized that even our parents didn't know how to teach love correctly sometimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of times people spread the disease of hating ourselves without even knowing that they're spreading it. You know what I mean? My grandmother used to get mad at me all the time for my hair being nappy. You know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And would get mad at me because I wanted to wear my hair a certain kind of way, the way it naturally grew. You know what I mean? That was teaching hate right there, to hate yourself. I wasn't trying to be nothing but myself. You dig what I'm saying? And the more we try to be ourselves, the more people try to teach you to hate yourself. You know what I mean? They called us all kinds of crazy stuff when we was little.
Yeah, but a lot of what we're talking about is a manifestation of us being afraid to love ourselves. It's what we all really want, right? Nobody. I mean, to a degree, sometimes we do. We do, you know, destructive shit to ourselves, right? I can't say that there's another person on the planet that has done more destructive shit to me than I've done to myself. So I got that, right? But when we can, you know, I think get beyond that, and then we can, I guess, start to accept what we believe is rightfully ours. I mean, because it does come down to who taught you that. Who taught you how to hate? Who taught you that man that looked just like you? Listen, here's a story. I was in class one time back in Temple, undergraduate. I was taking a course in, I call it How to Start a Revolution, but it was called Collective Resistance, right? And so I'm in the class, and
How to start a revolution.
right. I was trying to learn this shit. I mean, I didn't realize, no, nigga, get out there, boots on the ground and shit. Like, put your
Facts.
fist in the air, get a fucking sign and all that, and arm yourself and all that.
Right.
But I was in the class, and I asked the professor, I was asking, like, well, what is it that you tell your son, like, this talk that you gotta have? And it was a challenging question for everybody there, like everybody in the class, the professors, the assistant professors, and all of that, right? But the thing about it was, what it came down to was we didn't know how to express the love that we have for ourselves. And I challenged it in academia because I wanted to know, is this something that I'm missing at home that I can learn in academia, or is it something that I need to learn in academia and bring home? And the thing about it, it was that much of a challenge to the point where, like, he had a fella, I don't know if you know, you might have seen him around, Asa Khalif, right? He ran for council at large at one point earlier this year, or was it late last year? I can't recall. And Cord, my professor, Michael Cord, good dude. Like, he's a great guy. Like, he's like the angriest black man in the city. And Valerie Harrison, she was one of my professors in that course. And was it Bobby Seale? He came down to the class, and every time we had a guest speaker, I would pose that question. And the thing is, when I thought about it later on, because I have a son, and he's 17, and like I said, it's not if you have that interaction with law enforcement or with the criminal justice system, it's when, because you will have it.
Right.
And then the only way I was able to really rock that out was, or get it through to my kid, was to express it through love, right? Because I had to tell my son, you got to survive. I had to tell my son, you got to come home. But in the same token, I had to tell my son, like fuck them cats. Like, you can't really, you not going, no, we don't know what it is to have a fucking scrape on your knee. We not taking no knee for this. Like, no, we not nothing wrong with Colin Kaepernick. You supposed to. That he doing it the right way. I'm just saying, like, we not bowing down to a system that, but then on the same token, you still got to tell your kids, you got to make it home alive. So those are lessons that you can only teach out of love. And that was a challenge for folks that have been in academia for decades to give me the answer that I needed. And I still don't believe I got. Listen, these are talented, bright, brilliant people. And I take nothing away from them for giving me the answers they gave me, but I wasn't satisfied. And I'm still not satisfied with the answer I give myself, but I know as it evolves, I know this is a conversation I got to have with my son out of love, right? And that's the only way that I'm going to impart to him how important it is that he come home every day. So that brother that had that conversation or brought up that topic, like, we got to think of our kids as an extension of ourselves and how we love them, and these young people and the people that really need these lessons on how to love themselves. Because if we can't accept that uncomfortable moment, or that moment that it requires for us to say, I really got to challenge myself, I got to push myself, I got to do something that I have never done before, I have to show love in a way that wasn't necessarily shown to me. And this is something I'm forging in a new path to do. So, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so we got to just challenge ourselves to show.
That's some heavy shit, G. For real.
Yeah,
It's
I was
real
deep.
heavy, man.
I was letting you rock, man.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it made perfect sense, yo.
Solid.
It made perfect sense, and it's about executing that love. Basically, to sum up what you were saying, it's about executing it in the way that it wasn't executed to you.
Right. You
know
got to
what I mean?
figure it out.
Because a lot of the things you got to think, like I was saying a couple moments ago, that a lot of our parents didn't know how to love us. So therefore, in turn, how the hell could we? And a lot of things we were stripped away from us. You dig what I'm saying? So we've attached and reestablished ourselves with things that were us or didn't resonate with us. You dig what I'm saying? So we had to create new shit. You know what I mean? Like, we came up with things that, because we didn't have nothing else. Like, we came up with all kinds, like Kwanzaa, and we came up with shit. We was creating our own stuff. You know what I mean? Because so much was taken away from us.
Or so much simpler, just, I mean, even if you're not creative enough to come up with some new shit, just don't do the old shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just don't do they shit. Like, don't do
People
that
just
shit.
people got to feel that void. People got to feel it.
Yeah,
People got to feel the void. You dig what I'm saying? But they're filling it with the wrong things. And we don't know what to fill it with because we were snatched away from where we used to fill it at, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we all right now are prisoners of war, if you think about it.
Right, and I get sick sometimes. I'll be like, yo, why my niggas ain't come on a ship and slide by and say, yo, young boy, jump on, let's go back.
Yeah, we out.
Like, yo,
No,
how did that
you're
shit
done.
happen? Like, I don't even get
Just left us.
I ain't feeling that, and I know we off on a tangent, you know what I mean? So I digress. So we'll get back to what you were saying, but I was just saying I'm not feeling how that went down, like, But I'm here now, you know what I'm saying?
That's proof that we was.
They ain't know we was over here.
Right, okay, I can accept that.
But when they found out
That
we
was
was.
yours. That
Oh,
was
my
mine.
fault. I'll take them both. My
No,
fault.
but I'm gonna keep
joking.
my
My
joint.
fault.
I'm
They
just
mixing up. So check it out. When they found out they was over here, they ain't come get us though.
Right, because
Shit.
they know we've been over here for a couple
You
hundred.
know what I mean? They knew we was.
They
over
knew
here
the
for a
route and
minute,
all
man.
that. You know what I mean?
Fuck that.
Yes. Don't think
Shit.
main man that they hired on the ship that was from like Sierra Leone or the Ivory Coast or wherever.
Never go back.
He ain't never take that trip back to be like, yo, let me take you to where the real G's is at. You know what I mean? We gonna get after these
Yeah, he
boys.
went
Like,
back. Or they might have killed him.
they ain't killing him. He was too valuable. Like, that's one thing that these cats over here understand is the value of $1. You know what I'm saying? And they know this boy, he speak the language. We not going to get rocked. We not going to walk into, you know what I mean, a lion trap or nothing. We good money. So, no, they kept boy around. They like, listen, we gonna hook you up.
Millennium, no doubt.
And they do it today, like you say.
So to answer the question, we just not.
What's the answer to the question?
We just not stopping the violence.
Listen.
A great man once said that if you want to stop the violence,
I think it's a ploy to act like
you
you're doing something.
have to increase the violence upon those who are being violent.
Listen, that makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too.
It do. Listen, I'm not. Listen. I'm with you all the way. Like, I feel like,
And you know what, God, on some real shit. Hold on. That's the answer. Because they're not gonna stop doing what they're doing. That's the reality of it, and
So
that's
we
the
just
and that's
went full bandito over
Listen,
here.
the crazy part is
Right.
that's why no one ever speaks about it, because they already had a whole public
That's
forum.
why everybody
They had-
loved Batman.
They probably had a whole focus group about this shit,
Right.
and that's the resolution they came
He
up
said a
with.
focus
They
group.
definitely did.
Right,
They probably
right.
had a whole focus group about serious.
Fuck the focus group. We gonna have a cipher.
Yeah, I'm just saying what I'm saying. That's the reason why they don't talk about it now, because that's
Right.
the answer. Facts. That's the answer. That you have to inflict more violence. They don't want to hear that. That's
do.
not.
No, but
that's
they do
not the
wanna hear
blue
it.
collar answer. That's not the.
They do
the
wanna hear
politically
that,
correct answer.
No, they do want to hear that. You know why they do want to hear that? Because that's what they believe.
To them, it sounds like just more violence. But
No, to them
if
it sounds like the
executed
answer.
correctly.
My guy, to them it sound like the answer. Anytime you step foot in somebody's crib and you rock the head of the household and you rape his babies, that sound like the answer to them. Why ain't that the answer to me?
Right. Let me
Why
tell
ain't that the answer?
You
Like,
know why
it's
it's
not
not
my
the answer?
listen, it's not my
Increase
answer.
the levels
Look,
of
chill.
violence.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Listen, it's not necessarily my answer, but I'm saying that's their answer. That's their
You
answer
can't
to a
answer
problem.
that level of engagement.
You
with
gotta
anything
exceed
else.
that shit.
Yeah.
So fuck it. We gotta use.
But we talk about us. Hold on. We get back there. We
No,
talk
what
about-
I'm talking about
we
is
over there already.
huh?
We over there now.
Over where?
We not dealing with the
I'm
just
bringing
us
it
no
down.
more.
I'm sorry.
Not over there. I'm saying what I'm saying is
My fault. I got on that soapbox.
he
again. I
did.
gotta
He
chill.
did.
I
He
ain't know
did.
where we went.
You
I'm
got-
gonna take a break,
We
man.
getting
You good,
violence.
man. Nah, you good. You good.
Y'all
But
got me hyped.
What you gotta understand is
There's people
you
banging
you
on
right.
the door, man, with
No, you
ratchets
right.
and everything.
Nah, you
Like,
gotta
let's get
listen
to
that
it,
you
my
right.
guy.
No, you listening. You gotta listen.
I'm
that.
gonna go answer the door.
They do what that is what they want, but they think that's what they want, because the type of violence that I'm talking about brings an end to shit. It's not continued violence. It's focused violence on the shit that shouldn't be here. It's eliminating the snake from the garden. That's not the violence that they want. Let's get that clear. Well, the bigger violence upon violence, when I agree with the God, the bigger violence I was speaking about was not more people doing senseless killing. It was the bigger killers coming to kill the people who doing the senseless killing.
Whoa.
That's facts. That's what it means. You're not gonna sugarcoat it.
You gotta rewind.
That's a fact. That's a
You gotta
fact.
say it again, because I don't think the people heard you. You gotta say that one more time.
What I'm saying is, the guy said the solution to stop the violence in the old proverb or some shit that he heard was to get rid of violence, you have to bring bigger violence.
We need
upon-
an explosion.
Hold on. Let me explain this shit.
Right,
He
right.
said to bring violence, he said you have to bring bigger violence to the violence. You dig what I'm saying? The violence you're trying to stop, you have to bring a bigger violence to that violence. I hope I didn't confuse or lose anybody.
No, I'm with you down.
And by doing that, you're going to end that violence that you're going at, and it's because you're going at it with a cause for a reason. You dig what I'm saying? Like when a mother spanks her child, she's not trying to beat the child to death. She
Right.
want to send a message and get them out of, get them don't do the shit no more.
Right.
And that's what. In order to do that, you
Whoa.
might have to bring bigger violence.
We're gonna get some calls on that one, G.
What, spanking the child?
That's next. That's
Come
two.
on,
That's
nah,
three
nah,
episodes
man.
from now.
Nobody watching this podcast or listening to this
gonna touch
podcast
right on that one.
disagrees with that.
No,
shit.
listen, I agree with you. What you saying is 100. Like, because we are a peaceful people. we are a peaceful people by nature. Like, and I agree with you 100%. And so the only violence that anybody would need to bring to another violent entity is that amount of violence
that we need to restore the peace.
Right. To the amount of violence that would exceed the cost that they're willing to pay for more violence. Like the loss of life. Just suppose I'm going to lose 12% of my population, but I say 13% of the population is where I'm gonna shut it down. Like I'm gonna concede. Like I'd rather save this life, the rest of the 87%. I'd rather save them than lose that many more people. So that's the amount of you have to. This is the art of war.
I mean, that's the art of war, right?
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
That's the beginnings of how it all started.
Right. You gotta know the amount of violence. You gotta go into that type of violence saying, I don't have anything to lose, but what I have to gain is everything.
Now let me jump real quick on something to put some things together, right? Because as we talking, and I want to touch back on when we say the violence that we do witness in our communities, and that I'm one that says that, you know, one of these things that fail us is this snitching shit. As though like every citizen or every person is involved with the game. You know, there's citizens and there's troopers and there's warriors and those that's involved. And everything is real. People are taking advantage that aren't even really warriors or really real part of the game.
Right.
But they're able to hide under the veil of fear in the community of pretty much a jackass that got mad and went out and shooting on the block and hits a little girl in the shoulder.
Right.
You know, I figure he was apprehended and anybody, you know, fuck the police or whatever. All right, well, deal with him. Like we said earlier, with how do the community deal with him? He should be dealt with immediately. Not allowed to leave the scene. But we, as a community, nobody would really, so many nuances of how we got to keep it the fuck real.
No,
like,
it's
whatever,
fear.
Man.
How many people do you know running
fear.
down on a person with a gun?
Listen,
to stop them from anything.
Listen,
they all scared, and I ain't gonna say that. Still, that's part of it.
That's it.
Fear.
That's the whole part. That's all of it. Niggas scared. You don't want no smoke. First of all, I'm not running up on a nigga who just shot off 1,000 rounds on some Batman shit.
Nobody's apprehending people.
You know what I'm saying?
But people are harboring and whatever like that, allowing him to go and man. All right. Deal with that shit.
Dig this. How about this, right?
As a people, who are we really? Even any of us that say, yeah, we got guns, well, for that.
Right. If you're not protecting
He shot one of our daughters.
Right.
He's done.
Right.
Finished. He's off the grid. We don't give a fuck who he down with. He's done. Everybody should agree with that.
You know what? I agree with that.
He fucked up beyond, weapon his,
He's gone. He's a goner. Like
terms.
His ticket's over. His
ticket's over. He punched it. He's done. Everybody.
You done.
You know what I'm saying?
But
what's so hard about that?
Here go the simple part to that, right? I think. Here go the simple part to that. Or I'm gonna make it simple for me. Anyway, as a man, as a black man, right? That man that killed that kid got a fucking father.
Yeah.
He got a dad. He's somebody's son. You know what I'm saying? So
as well as maybe somebody's fault with himself.
Yeah, so that's where the responsibility was lost. Like my son, you got a gun and you gonna kill a kid. You my son? I can't even imagine it, but you my son? May, listen, come here. Let me rap to you about that. Like, we don't do that. We will never, ever do that. Like, if you in the game and you doing that, and as far as the stop snitching, I would never advocate for any of our people to talk to the cops.
Ever.
Right? And I'm the intern, right? I'm not... I got 2 degrees in criminal justice, right? One in associate of science from Rowan and a bachelor of arts from Temple. I completed 1 year of law school at Widener, Delaware Law School, and I'm in my 2nd year at Trinity, right? I interned with the Defenders Association of Philadelphia, so I'm a legal intern there, and hopefully, son will be like, "God, you can be an intern on the show." And that'd be good money.
Clap it up for my man right here.
So,
that's love.
So I say that to say, in my education and in my pursuit of my new career, I would never advise anybody to speak to the cops about anything, right? If the cops knock on my door, they're not getting nothing out of me. If they, I'm not talking to. You can't do it because number one, the thing that goes on with that is anytime you speak to law enforcement, whatever you say, and mind you, this is legal information. It's not legal advice. I'm telling you how I would advise my son. I'm telling you how I would advise you all as a friend and my folks, my brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To never, under any circumstances, be respectful. Because cops can be asses. We all know that. They can have a bad fucking day, find out their wife cheating on with a brother with stroking her all crazy or whatever, and they want to take it out on every brother on the street. You know what I'm saying?
Or he just got screamed at this morning by his boss and looked like a clown in front of everybody.
Exactly.
Now he heated.
Right. Or it could be just I'm feeling like going out cracking heads today. And that being the case, I'm saying you got to tell your folks to be mindful when they deal with law enforcement, but to never speak a word to them about anything. It's their job. They get paid. They punch a clock. They get OT like a motherfucker. A bunch of them is making six figures. You know what I mean? On our backs because we pay their salary, right? It's their job to find out what went wrong, who did what to who. It's not my job to tell you who the fuck did it. It ain't my responsibility to hold your fucking hand and tell you, look up the block, OG up there, he can tell you something. I'm not telling you shit. Do your fucking job,
Facts.
right? And go find that motherfucker. Use your little forensics or whatever you got in front of you, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you can do, find that shit or however you got to do it, you know what I mean? And, however, like, put it on the show and do a sting like y'all do when y'all catch, like, a million cats roaming to the crib, looking for 12 and 10-year-old boys and girls, and they be, like, 90% white dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like, do that shit, you know what I'm saying? And find the cat that shot, little Billy up the block. Like, I'm not telling you shit. Cut me a check. Cut me a motherfucking check. Like, and I'm telling everybody that, like, my advice from person to person, just because I love y'all, and I do, like, genuinely do. You can probably see I'm passionate about this shit. Son always telling me to step off my soapbox, and I get it, you know what I'm saying? But on some real shit, nah, fuck, stop. Don't snitch. Like, keep your mouth shut. Like, it's enough of us in jail now that we got another 300-400 years in front of us so that, then we'll finally fucking catch up. Don't tell them shit.
Word. Hey, listen, check it out.
We definitely endorse that message right there. Just stamp that one on the top of the banner.
I don't know who was.
And I gotta say something.
Go ahead.
Let me say this one thing, right?
Go ahead,
Little
man.
disclaimer. The opinions expressed and viewed on this show are not necessarily the opinions of my employer or of my school. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure I make that.
Or of Glockaware.
Or of Glockaware, right? This is me personally. You know what I'm saying? It's got nothing to do with nobody. Like, so don't, like, yo, boy from over. No, not boy from over there or none of that you heard. Just the boy that was on the radio with the blue T-shirt or a blue hoodie. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He's just expounding, G.
That's what it's all about. It's about awareness. And as I stated in the beginning, in the root of the whole situation was about awareness for our people. Putting our people on things that they may not have been aware of. On all levels, on all platforms. Peace, God.
Peace.
You know what I mean? The guy True Knowledge just walked in. Peace, God. You got a seat, God.
Peace, God.
Everybody's
Peace.
welcome in
Peace,
here, man.
I heard y'all on there, man. I said, let me get on down here and say peace.
All right.
That's peace,
to the
God.
God.
Yeah,
Coming
man.
through.
If I can add on real quick.
Come on, add on, God. You can
What y'all
get
was
on.
saying about
We can't hear you. You gotta get on the mic, God. Give him a mic, man.
peace. What y'all was saying about.
And next time, call me and tell me you coming, man. Don't just be coming,
Don't just
jumping
be
on the
barging
show,
in the
man.
show, man.
I text you, God. I text you. I said
Ain't
I'm
nobody
outside.
pat
Yeah.
you down or nothing.
Yeah,
man. What is
man.
going on right now? You hear yourself?
Indeed. As far as educating these young ones, taking these pins out their mind, and what y'all was saying about getting them to love themselves, yeah, that's right and exact. However, we do know also, me working in education, also that they got it set up to drain them, just to hold these children hostage and just make them bored. So what I try to do is try to get them back to that real essence of a clique. If you like engineering, all right, let's get all the children that like engineering, let's put them together. All the children that like business, let's get them together. And let's start getting everybody that got that education to be able to educate these children on those certain fields. So they'll be more zoned into what they love to do instead of get them zoned into what they love to do instead of getting them all distracted by the rest of the world. So we get them zoned into what they love to do. They on it all day, every day. Then they'll sit down when they want to learn the engineering from the guy, or they want to learn the business from Divine, or they want to learn the aspect of being able to speak to people from the rest of Glockaware. You know what I mean? We can help educate them on the things that we know to make them empower themselves where they won't be distracted by the BS. Because remember, when we was younger, we feared our parents more than the cops, and that kept us out of a lot of trouble. So our parents looked at it and said, we're not going to give our children a chance to express themselves. But now these adults out here giving these children a chance to express themselves, like you doing the wrong thing.
And even that, right? Like you say, because we was all on that note, right? But just to add on, I play devil's advocate a lot. I mean, no pun intended. Lack of better words, right?
Peace, God.
You say we feared our parents.
Or respect it, indeed. But go ahead, God.
In some cases, it was fear, though.
Indeed.
Getting knocked upside your head, or the belt. That was fear.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't motherfucking respect. And all they did was instill in us what they knew. Think about it. You know what I mean?
Because they saw the dangers of what was going to happen to us if we ain't pay attention.
Or
like if the cops ever grabbed me.
Or
peace, God.
They got their ass kicked when they was little. You dig what I'm saying?
Indeed.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like when your mom was little and your dad was little, they got their ass kicked by their mom and their dad.
They got that fire set to them.
Right. Dig it. And then their grandparents, right? When they was little and they did some dumbass shit, they mom and dad kicked their ass too. Right?
Indeed, God.
And then, but look, think about it. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this shit, right? What happened?
No, we was looking for the wine.
All right, yeah,
logistics and shit.
Nah, but do the knowledge of what I'm talking about, though. Do the knowledge of what I'm talking about. Like, it's a chain reaction. It's a domino effect. Like, yes, in some instances, they say respect. You know what I mean? Because you do respect your parents, but it was fear. We know that. We ain't gonna sugarcoat that shit.
Then when we got older, then we
hold on, God. Let me build. I ain't
ain't
finished, God. Let me build. You know what I mean? It was fear. You understand what I'm saying? The fear, that shit result, and it may sound cliche, all the way back to fucking slavery. Because that's what we knew from then. They kicked our ass. And it was babies, it was people that was born into, and motherfuckers say, man, it's 2019, right? That's what a motherfucker say. Like, how the fuck is SunWun on Glockaware Radio in 2019 talk about motherfucking slavery? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna tell you how I'm talking about it, right? And it's triggered off of what you said. You said fear, right? It's a whole generation of us getting our ass kicked for doing something wrong.
Or something perceived wrong.
Or something perceived to be wrong by somebody else. You dig what I'm saying? Since generations, like I was serious, it may have sounded funny, but your grandmother got her ass kicked by her mom or dad for doing something that they perceived to be wrong. And they got that shit from the fucking slave master. Yeah, that's what was done. That's not what you're supposed to do when a child fuck up, though. You're not supposed to knock them upside their fucking head because they do some shit wrong. That ain't right. I'm just keeping it 100. That shit developed the conditioning into us. It's a whole bunch of little shit that added up that creates the violence that we fighting against today is what I'm leading towards. And a lot of that shit started at home. Yes, you had parents who educated their children at home and really was on top of more than what other parents may have been. But even them same parents used to knock you upside your motherfucking head if you did some shit was wrong. That shit is a joke amongst black parents and black families that's what we do. Yeah. It been a joke about with comedy acts and all of that shit about that's what we do. Our parents kick our ass. And that shit is traumatizing. Shit sound funny, it sound crazy and shit, but that ain't how you teach children. And that shit creates or helps create some of the bullshit we see today. They say children act the way they act today because you don't kick their ass. I think there's other dynamics on how we should be building on that shit and how we building our children versus
that's definitely something to add on to. And a lot of things you touching on is definitely dealing with, certain, very direct mental health issues. Mm-hmm. But when people hear mental health, they think crazy. And it's not crazy. Mental health means your mind being healthy. You know what I'm saying? You want to keep your brain healthy, keep your body healthy. You want to keep your brain healthy, keep your mind healthy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, those conditioning that you building on, coming down from parental things being passed down, and that element of having a fear for things. You know what I'm saying? Having to fear things. And then we see a difference in our generation. We coming up and we teaching our children as we growing and learning and really being open with them for a first time in a generation. And I'll definitely say that it's not even an experiment. It's just the reality that it was. You know what I mean? In the case that a lot of our children, because we 40, we ain't not free ciphers. You know what I mean? So and up. So our children is in the teenage years to the 20s. They the ones we talking about. That age range. We all sitting here talking about our sons, and our sons may have a difference because we was instilling certain things, but at the same time we didn't instill certain things. Our children don't fear a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I know our children. They don't have certain fears that we did, because we was inbred with little things and little pins that was stuck in us and whatnot. We learned to take them out when we became adults, and we said we ain't gonna put them in our children. But we raising some really ready children, but we not equipping them with everything. You know what I mean? And then what we building on with the violence is then they go out into the world, into the streets, and the equipment is being handed to them: guns, drugs, knives, women, cars. You know what I'm saying? Money.
Subliminal messages.
Indeed, subliminal messages, TV, social media. You know what I mean? And I feel you, son. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the route you go into with parental, it do go past that, but that's definitely,
it's a part.
It's a
definitely
major
part. I don't eat cheese now
Major
today because of my mom's didn't eat it. And I had to do the knowledge to that myself, because it sounds crazy, but I love pizza. And this is just to show you the science, the psychological things when you're little. I love pizza. Anybody who knows me knows I'll destroy some pizza. But put cheese on anything else, I'm looking at you like you crazy, and you better get away from me with it. Like it's poisonous. That's how much I'm against it. Everybody knows me knows that. And I had to really assess myself.
You don't fuck with feta cheese?
No other cheese unless it's pizza, period. And I really had to think, me being the analytical person that I am and always wanting to go to the root to why things they are the way that they are, I had to really think about that. Like, why is that? Like, why the hell? You know, there's a reason for everything. And when I put one and one together, I realized that when I was younger, when you're a baby, when you're a toddler, nothing's more greater than your parents.
Right.
Nobody is greater than your moms or whoever your guardian is, I should say. And at the time, obviously, it was my mom's, who despised cheese. She don't even eat pizza. And I already know what happened. Somebody tried to offer me some. Me and my twin sister probably, because she's the same way. Somebody probably tried to offer us some, and she was like, "Oh no, don't get that to my baby," some old crazy shit. And we look like, "Oh fuck, if moms don't want it, we don't want it." We 4, 3, I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm just doing the knowledge to investigate and shit. Facts. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's probably what happened. But the reason I eat pizza is because every child loved pizza. The pizza party was do you remember how much of a big deal a pizza party was? At 5 years old, 6 years old, that shit was like the Super Bowl, nigga. The pizza party? Are you kidding me? Yeah. For no reason, just a pizza party when you little was amazing.
All kinds of new seating arrangements.
Oh my God, yo, the pizza party. How do you deny? Fuck what moms is talking about. Right. I'm eating some pizza. Do you see how hyped these kids is? Yeah. I'm getting busy, and that's why I think I grew up that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to really analyze that shit. But that's to show you the conditioning. And that can happen on so many different levels with us. It's so easy. The children are genuinely and truly are impressionable. And the powers that be know that. And we've been fed so much garbage that set us up for failure since we were babies. They don't teach us about so much shit coming through school, which is all assistance in what causes the violence, which is all assistance in what causes us to be not productive and not able to move forward with being great. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I say is it's still simple. It goes right back to what we started the whole conversation off with, and that is self-love, and we desire that. Like because that's what it's innate in us. It's not like we are a loving people, a loving, peaceful people. So it's in us from the day we were born to be that way and to be that person. So the challenge is with the youth and with a lot of us adults. I mean, some of the crazy, silly, simple ass shit that I hear motherfuckers talk about these days, I'd be like, yo, like, there's no fucking way you give a shit about yourself saying some of the shit you say. But I ain't even gonna get into that. What I'm saying is, in order to, I mean, we gotta have, that expectation of ourselves that's realistic, right? Because none of us is perfect. We're not, it's a challenge to get there. And the other thing is, once we realize that self-love is where it starts, because we want it, we do. We think it comes in a motherfucking a spray paint can that women put on their face to beautify or whatever. And don't get it fucked up. I'm all for some small enhancements, shit like that. Like you want to put on a little whatever, I'm good with that. I'm not condemning that. But what I'm saying is, like what we do is we place value in that shit. Mm-hmm. And because we place value in it, we believe that's what love is. That's what's going to bring us love. Like, I'm not going to front, bro. Like, I'm 47 years old, so this ain't my first fucking rodeo, right?
Right.
So,
all right.
And I know that everything that glitters ain't gold. Everything that I see at the club at night ain't gonna look good in the motherfucking morning.
Facts.
So, I dig that, right? I peep game, right? So, because of that, I know that I gotta govern myself a certain way. I gotta look at shit in a different light, and so since I gotta look at this shit I can't look at it the way I normally would, just like with a gleeful eye, like I'm just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I don't know no better. Let me get into this shit right here. I gotta look at it a little different. I gotta find love in that. What other people say love is, and other people are saying that love is, a Maybach. Love is, a 7-bedroom crib where a nigga don't know another nigga in the crib for 2 weeks, shit like that.
Right.
And material shit, red bottom shoes. That shit is crazy. Like that shit gonna get scuffed. That's what I said. But I'm fucking retarded. You know what I mean? So shit like that, we put value in that, and we call that shit love.
Because we don't love ourselves.
But we want to know how. I'm just saying those are indicators to us to say that we want to love ourselves.
Right.
We want other people to love us too. So you gotta give people the tools. Like I was telling Main Man on the phone, like it's a challenge for us to have those conversations with each other, but we have to be able to give each other those tools and those jewels and say, all right, in order to love myself, somebody gotta talk to me and tell me how, because it's not a given to me. I'm not at a point in my life where I've had enough, challenges or struggles where now I know how to overcome them shits, or I love myself enough to be able to say, all right, I'm a chill off of this shit or whatever. So we got to be a resource to each other. It's the mental health piece, the behavioral health piece. Like, unless we can get into our own heads and say, you know what, this is what we need in order to move forward. Like, we got to be able to deal with, a certain mentality or change our own mentality about something. Then we won't be able to really get to that point. We gotta understand what self-love is and be willing to accept it, because we've seen in so many different places what necessarily self-hate is, or hate of a certain people is, and we've accepted that. Now we got to find a way to turn it around and say, all right, well, I got to love myself, and it's hard to do. It's hard to do when you look in the mirror and everything you see says, I got to hate that right there.
Facts.
It's easier when you can see in society where they say, no, we love this shit. And our society says we will appropriate everything about you, but tell you at the same fucking time everything about you ain't shit. And that's fucked up.
Right.
That's hard to deal with.
Right.
They fucking, that's a mind fuck right there.
Right.
To look at you, like I'm looking at you right now and say, yo, man, everything about you is fire. And then on the same token, but you know what? All that shit is bullshit, and you need to understand that. Like, and how do you balance
I want you to
that?
know I understand it. You need to understand it too, but you still cool.
All right, solid.
You still cool.
My guy. I fuck with you like that.
That's what it be about, though. That's the fact. What's
Yeah.
that?
Some sake, guys.
Some sake?
Yeah, guys.
That's the
Oh,
Japanese
alright.
rice
Celebration.
Japanese rice wine.
Japanese rice wine.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm feeling
With the
building.
sake.
That must have been that reference to Sun Tzu.
The Sun Tzu brought it
Yeah,
out.
the
Yeah,
art of
that's
war
the
made
art
it
of
pull a
war.
sake out. That's
Right,
facts.
right.
That's love.
Make
Brought that right
Yeah,
out. That's
you know what I'm
good
saying? It's all good. You know, we in here, we dealing with the libations, man. We getting stimulated, building about things that we love. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a racist. I'm racial. And being racial meaning you love your people. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about, man.
Well, dealing with self-love, I mean, that's one of the...
Sake.
Cheers.
Well, we wait on the guy. Gotta wait on Rod.
Oh, right.
Just to the room. Pour it up.
Oh, I got a little sake.
Right.
Peace to the gods.
Peace.
Peace to the gods, peace to the earth, peace to all civilized
Peace
people.
to
of the
everybody, man. Even the violent ones that need to stop.
All I want to see y'all do is be successful in that.
Definitely send peace to the violent ones. They the ones that need the peace the most. You know what I mean? That's what I was gonna build on, like when you're saying with self-love.
Woo.
And
Shit ain't rubbing alcohol.
You know.
Talking about sake.
Yo, I ain't even touch it. I put it right there.
What's that, witch hazel?
I put that shit right there. Like, all right, we just gonna sit that right there. I smelt it. I said, okay, we gonna.
That's why I told you be
Yo,
low.
that joint got a little kick to it.
Yeah, that's
Got
a
nice
little
to it.
kick.
Right.
I smelled
Listen,
it.
that shit got me all warm
Yo,
and
did
fuzzy
y'all watch
inside,
him
man.
open that? Did y'all watch him open that?
Look,
Yeah, that's witch hazel, man. This ain't no motherfucking sake.
This
Read that. G-Money, read that, man. This is not...
Yo, this shit says Confucius wisdom. Like, he took it back millennials and shit.
I do feel a little philosophical. I
A
do.
wise man's spirit is in this fucking bottle.
A wise man's spirit is in the bottle.
Well, they don't say it like that, but it's,
Nah, that's good sake. That's
yeah,
good.
that's good money.
Yeah.
Fuck with it like that.
That's
I
good
thought
shit.
sake was supposed to be warm. Does the sake
You can
come
have it warm. You can have it
Cold,
warm.
warm or cold? All right.
Yeah.
Last
You
time
feel
I had
it
it
in
was
your bones.
warm. First of all, last time I had sake, listen.
It tastes 80 proof.
That little motherfucker right
It
there.
tastes 80
listen.
proof. Like,
Last time I had some
that's a shot
sake,
and a half.
I was in Hibachi's and it was hot and it was purple.
Oh, so you had the one that was fused. It was unfiltered.
What?
That was unfiltered.
All right, I don't know, but I know it wasn't clear. This looks like water.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. This
Yeah, no,
This
it's
is
quite
filtered,
tasty.
guy.
It's
Yeah.
quite
It's
tasty.
filtered. This filtered.
Thank
It's clear
you.
like that. It's filtered.
So if it
appreciate
wasn't filtered, it would have been purple.
It looked like a little bit cloudy. Some colors in it. Like
Yo, this shit was purple. G.
They probably
I'll
mixed
never
it with
forget.
some
know,
probably
that-
little
that
little
goes
berry
right
juice
from
in there, something
hibachi.
like that.
Listen, that goes right in with the name of the show, Diamond and Steel, right?
Diamond and Steel.
Don't you class a diamond by its clarity?
True indeed.
And we just got done talking about the clarity of his
Sake, facts.
But I want to take a second if Sun will allow me, right?
No, go ahead. You a guest. Go ahead. You know what I mean?
Solid. I want to just give a quick plug, right, to some shit that's happening in the city.
But hold on.
Yes.
What we're gonna do is, because we don't want to date it. We don't want to date it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know what? What is it? It's an event. You want to plug?
It's more than an event, my guy.
Is it an ongoing event? Or is it a
it's
one-time event?
I'm not even gonna give the whole thing up. I wanted to tease everybody about a
Okay.
campaign, and it's not even. It's a campaign that not just I've been working on, but Sun has been working on with me, and not just that campaign in itself. But I wanted to put everybody onto some shit, right? I know the audience that we're reaching, and the audience that we're reaching, y'all my folks, right? Y'all my folks. I would challenge any one of y'all to say you're not my folks, because then you know what you're saying? That you don't have self-love, and I don't believe that about none of y'all. So because y'all my folks, I'm gonna put you up on game, and the game is you need to arm yourself in this school to prison pipeline and criminal injustice system. And there's a couple ways that I want to suggest that you do that. Number one is we got these, not we, throughout the city of Philadelphia, there are 7 at present and 2 more in development participatory defense hubs. And what those hubs do is support criminal defendants in the city of Philadelphia who are, facing trial. You got booked, you got a charge, you know what I mean? Your folks, any of that, you know what I mean? You go to one of the hubs and you get support. And that support consists of a lot of different things. Like they'll tell you how to deal with your whole situation. How to talk to your attorney, what questions to ask them, where you at in the criminal justice system, starting from, your first contact with law enforcement all the way through to your appeal. And they'll just give you the jewels that you need. You know what I mean? They'll remove a lot of that apprehension that you may have when you face that ginormous system of oppression that's forced on you.
And design
To put you behind bars. Right.
You said that there was 7 hubs.
There's 7 hubs in the city right now. You got.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna include them joints in the description.
All right, so we're gonna include
the video because we are running out of time.
All right, so just to wrap up, he just wrapped me up, right? He just wrapped.
I need this Chappelle joint to wrap it up.
But just just check out. You'll see a hashtag from every now and then. Defender Street Team. I'm
Absolutely.
on the Defender Street
I support
Team. Just check that joint out, and
I support it.
We hold your hand. You know what I mean? All that shit. Make sure you get through everything right.
If you need somebody to hold your hand and walk you through the justice system because you found yourself caught up on some dumb shit you was doing or some dumb shit they said you was doing, holla at the Defenders Street Team.
Boom, that's
they official.
Hashtag.
Yeah,
that's the hashtag.
Defender Street Team.
Instagram, Twitter, all that.
Hashtag Defender Street Team.
Hashtag Defender Street Team.
Defender
That's
Street
just
Team.
like
Hashtag say less. Hashtag have the talk.
That's like putting the Batman logo in the sky of Instagram.
And we need that, John. We do.
That was dope. You peeped that. It was like poetry / jewelry. Yeah, that's dope. Yo, check it out. We definitely made history right now in Glocker World. My man, I want to thank Toucan Sam for allowing us to do what we do in Glocker World, because he's the GOAT. Toucan is actually the president and mayor and I think governor of Glocker World. So nothing happens in Glocker World without Toucan say so. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? He is the GOAT. And y'all definitely was tuned into history for the debut of the Diamond and Steel podcast. This is just the beginning of something big, something great. We're going to cover so many more topics. You know what I mean? We didn't get a chance
What
to
was
get
the topic this week again, God?
Stopping the
Shit
violence.
was long ass show, man.
Stopping the violence pretty much this week, guys. You know what I mean?
We was
every show, before we fade out, I told myself that every show I was going to try to give like some kind of useless fact or some kind of jewel.
Yo, God, what's today's mathematics real quick?
We ain't even going to get into that. I don't want to date it. We ain't doing none of that. That's why I ain't started off like that. I don't want to date it. You know what I mean?
I'll ask you at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, ask me at 10. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I ain't want to date it, though. That's the only reason why. You know what I mean? Because what happens is we upload.
No, you keep saying you don't want to date it, then you going to fuck around and date it more. So I got you, guy. I got you.
I'm not. We all good. Yo, can you tell me what the zip and zip code stands for?
The zip and zip code?
Yes.
Hold up.
Don't look it up. Don't cheat.
Yo, you can't be looking it up. What you got, fortune cookies? What is that? The zip and zip code.
How about you, Guy? How about you, G Money?
The zip.
Let me ask you, is it an acronym?
It is.
It is an acronym? I don't know. I'm done. I'm
done?
out on
You're
that.
done?
Zip code.
I have no clue.
Well,
what does the zip and zip code
I'm not even
mean?
going to try with that one.
You don't know? You don't know, Toucan? You don't have a clue? You don't know?
I don't know. I did go ziplining last year though. That shit was fun.
That was dope.
It was off the chain.
So the zip and zip code means zone improvement plan.
Damn.
And what it was that the city, when they were trying to regulate different sections of the city, they had to incorporate the zip code. The zip code is the zone improvement plan. Yeah, they wanted to break the areas down. Right.
Ran with it.
Sweet. And they ran with the shit. You know what I mean? So that's
Sound like fucking
that's
Redline.
the fact for the show. The end of the show fact for y'all, man. I'm gonna have one every show.
That's what's up, man. You surprised the fuck out of me.
Hey, man, bong, man. It is, man. Toot, man. Let that run. We out of here, man. Thank you for letting us rock out, man.
Peace.
Peace.